All right, so I'm here to talk about this game, Hell Is Us. This is an interesting game because I remember seeing all the trailers about it. I absolutely was like, "Whoa, this game looks dope. The gameplay looks sick." It was like it looked like a hack and slash, right? But it never really dawned on me that this was going to be a Souls-like game. Maybe I should have picked up on it or paid a little bit more attention to the trailer. That's on me for not doing that. But this is essentially a very unique Souls-like game where it is more a Neo than it is a typical Souls game, but at the same time, it's kind of its own thing, and there's no maps, and the game warns you when you boot it up. It says this right here, and when you see that, you're kind of like, shit's about to go down. Right, let's fucking go. So, with that being said, we're here to talk about Hell Is Us and why I absolutely think this game is like really cool. I've really been enjoying this, playing this on PC and handheld game PC. A shout out to Green Man Game. I got to partner with them, who they provide me the review code for me to be able to play it for you guys and do this review. If you want to pick it up, use my Green Man Gaming link down below. No additional cost to you. Actually, you save money by using my link. You'll get less than retail MSRP if you use my link. It'll be substantially discounted. So go ahead and pick it up for PC with the link down below for Green Man Gaming. All that being said, though, let's talk about Hell Is Us. Now, when it comes to the story, basically the story starts medias res. And if you're not familiar with that term, medias res means in the middle of the story. So basically, you are, a prisoner at this point being interrogated by this really shady, weird looking guy who basically is asking you to recant stuff, and then they kind of drug you with some type of truth serum, and then you're at this point where you're like, okay, what's going on? So basically, it gives you a bit of a backdrop of your character who went back to this abandoned place during this, I guess, post-apocalyptic thing. And yes, this is all set in a fantasy setting too, right? So you're going back and basically tracing your steps of how you got to wherever you are in the story. And so you're running through, you're not really sure what's going on. There's no map. It's basically, hey, you're in this world, go explore and figure out what's going on. And so while I said that this game, I didn't expect this to be a bit of a Souls-like, because it is a Souls-like, but the thing is, it's slightly different too, because if you've ever played the Fallout series, there's a lot of Fallout that's within it, which is kind of crazy. This is the second game I've done a review with actually I'm recording this review at the same time I'm recording my Chronos and New Age review, which that game has like some Fallout aspects to it as well, like a Pip-Boy like item, as well as, dialogue options. And this also has that too. And I actually should have said in the Chronos video that game also has Bioshock in it too, because your character is kind of like a big daddy. But anyways, that's for another time. But anyways, so basically you get this Pip-Boy like item where you can go through, you can, check your inventory, your data logs and everything like that. And eventually you'll get, your sword, which can do certain damage. And then you have a drone, which you can use to like distract the enemy, which also doubles as your light source and everything like that. So the game is just quite interesting. It's an amalgamation of many different games and playstyles all come together to coalesce into one thing. And to me, I'm like, wow, this is very unique. Now, the story, for the most part, I don't know if I can say if it's the strongest part, because you are, going through this war-trodden land where like there's these two factions or two groups of people that are going at each other, but then there's this alien like demonic type of entities and structures that are around that you're going to run into, and temporal time distortions. And so there's a lot going on with the story, and I really can't explain it to you because I'm still kind of trying to figure it out myself, if that makes sense, which I know it kind of leads to a very poor story analysis, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like it's different. But I guess in the sense of how Souls likes typically tell their story through, in character, like if you reach certain characters and you talk to them, or you find, data logs and you read those, and that kind of is where it's a little bit different. There are also puzzles in this game too that are very reminiscent of like Resident Evil style puzzles. So the game also gives you a bit of a horror vibe too. So there's a lot of different things that are going on within this game, from the gameplay to the story to how everything just coalesces. It's very unique, and all I can say is I had fun with it. It didn't grip me story wise as the same that Chronos did. I know these are two different genres, two different styles of games, but Chronos just gripped me from start to finish. Whereas this one did not really. I was intrigued, but I wasn't gripped to really care or invest myself that much in the story. Now, when it comes to the gameplay, this is where I say it plays more like um Neo than it does a typical Souls like, because your maneuverability is very high. You can dodge, but there is still that stamina meter. So every time you attack, your stamina goes down. You dodge, your stamina goes down. And you can also do a couple other things too, like your standard attack, depending on what you're playing. I played this on PC, so using the Xbox controller. X is my standard attack, and then if we hold that down, you can charge your attack up to 2 levels. One, it'll make a sound like shink, and then it'll make a shink again when it's at the max. And then, like when you're charging, you start moving slow. So definitely, I would say do distract with your drone, which is right trigger and B if you're playing on PC, and then run up, charge your attack, and then go from there and try and defeat them. Now, when you're hitting your enemy, there's these white rings that'll come around them. And when that happens, if you want to restore a little bit of stamina and health, tap the right bumper and that'll allow you to like absorb the energy. And also, if you can do a perfect block, a perfect parry, then you can do a repose, which you'll just tap A and they'll literally let you obliterate your enemy as well as be able to regain some stamina and health. So that's cool. The way you save this game too, you'll come across little recording cassette tapes, and you can save your progress manually there. And so when you do find this, you can trade it with them. Which, like I said, this is where it's very similar in a way to the Fallout series, because it's got that kind of feel to it. So when you find these items traded, you can complete quests, get additional resources and such. There's one where you have a soldier who's looking for alcohol, so you can find him some mead or wine and trade there with him, and then they'll close out another quest and give you like a key to go into certain areas. And there's just all kinds of things like that throughout the game. So it pays you a lot to be able to explore and try to search through every nook and cranny. Another thing too, you will find a convoy eventually, and you'll get the key to it, which allows you to travel to different areas on the map that does show up when you want to fast travel. So just keep that in mind too. Also make mental note of different areas, because there are going to be certain things or people that are within them that you're going to want to go into. Now, the more you use a weapon, this is where the RPG like elements in this game kind of take hold, is the more you use attacks with a certain weapon, the more the level of that weapon goes up. So I primarily like the sword, but there's like the dual axes and other weapons you can come across. And the more you use them, the more you defeat enemies, the more that weapon levels up, the more damage it does, and the like. You can also get different equipment, so you can change out your equipment, which also changes out your appearance. And also you can upgrade your drone to have your drone have different abilities like distract and such like that. As you go along, there's also single-use items and such. So just think of your typical Souls like setting up your items and such, and you'll get an idea of how that works. Now, the game ran, at least for me, when I was playing on my PC. My PC, I've got a 5080 graphics card in my main gaming PC, and the one I use to capture everything, it's got a 4080 in it. And so, I was able to run it highest settings, maxed out, with no issue whatsoever. It just ran flawlessly to me. Now, is this a game I think you should pick up? I would say yes. I think if you're someone who enjoys Souls like if you like Souls and you like Neo, and you want something that's a little bit of both, a little dash of Elden Ring kind of thrown in there too, then this is something that I'm going to say that I would say pick it up. The game is actually not hard. It's actually fairly easy, if I'm being completely honest. So I think a lot of people might be surprised by that. But the game will even tell you when you're doing very, very well against enemies after a bit, it's like, hey, it's too easy, up the difficulty, which is kind of crazy how the game breaks the fourth wall. It does that a couple of times throughout the game. I think the game is a lot of fun. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I know for me, who, I play a variety of games. I do like Souls likes, especially Neo, with a faster, more frenetic gameplay, then this is definitely going to be up your alley. Plus, it runs great on Steam Deck as well as any handheld gaming PC, really little with no issues. if you're running at low or medium settings. Now, with that being said, what do you guys think of Hell Is Us? Is this a game you've been looking forward to? Is it a game you're looking at picking up? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to pick it up, there will be a link for Green Man Gaming down below so you can get it at a great discounted price, and also save yourself some money and I get a little bit of a kickback for the referral. All that being said, though, shout out to Green Man Gaming for giving me the code and collaborating with me to be able to make this video. And with that being said, guys, I am signing out. I'm Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii content creator. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, share it around, and sub if you haven't already. And if not, hey, that's cool too. With that being said, catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, and a hui ho.